All right, so obviously we beat the hell out of Western Kentucky, and not too shocked about it. It is what it is. We were able to kind of get the win, and I'm excited about it. Offense looked explosive. The running attack looked really, really good. Again, I'm so glad we're out of this power run game bullshit that we were doing last year with our offensive line. You're starting to see a lot more pin and pull. Our centers, and Parker Brailsford probably pulled more than any center that Alabama has probably done in the last maybe 3 to 4 years. We had one botched freaking snap, which gave me deja vu to the Rose Bowl game. But it is what it is. Whatever. Hopefully we can just clean up that issue. But I like the offensive line for the most part. The only position I'm worried about is at left tackle because I don't know what the hell happened to Caden Proctor. He got hurt, and so you had to bring in Elijah Pritchett, who's the backup guy. I don't know. I am nervous about that crap because Elijah Pritchett is somebody that is he's more suited if we run the football and if we move him out in space. He's actually I think better fit in a power run scheme with Tyrese more than this scheme, in my personal opinion. Again, I thought he had a really good game when we ran the football, but in terms of just pass pro, goodness gracious, he's got it. He's not his strongest suit. Jalen Murrow, some things that I liked about him that in terms of improvement, he's not trying to take off as much, right? He's trying to read the field as much as possible. I would like for him to step up in the pocket. That's one of the things that I'm just like, damn. It's like a lot of the throws when he's trying to drop back and if he's taking hits or if he's kind of rushing the process, he's got to step up in that pocket. Especially during that sack. That's one thing I wish he could have done was climb up in the pocket instead of just kind of standing like a statue. But he is reading the field. He's trying to go through his reads. There was some reads that I just think were not the correct decisions. Some throws that I'm just like, on one of the throws, not really a throw, but he kind of bailed out a little bit too quickly. Was like they had like a zone blitz. Was pretty much they had a corner kind of rush off the edge, and there was an inside slant that I'm telling you. I mean, if you just throw where the blitz is at, and there's an inside slant coming in there. I forgot which number it was, but if he sees that, I mean, again, if you can identify where that blitzer is coming from, you see it, you throw it in that direction. It's a first down. That's something he's going to have to get better. He's going to have to learn from. A couple others, but other than that, like I said, I'm just being nitpicky because we didn't. I mean, let's be honest, we didn't really see that much. Alabama dominated on the ground game. We didn't. This was a much more vanilla sort of offense. Like we're not gonna, show our full hand against Western Kentucky. So it was very, very vanilla based. We did see a lot of motion with our receivers, but. For the most part, I mean, we ran some swing passes. We ran some swing passes. Ryan Williams, I think he simply just ran a go route on his first touchdown. And then but other than that, I mean, like I said, I have to kind of go back and actually watch the game, watch it a couple times, see what we try to do. But I'm just being nitpicky with Jalen Murrow. Ryan Williams is a stud, dude. That's one thing that I can say. That dude's a stud. We tried to, and I noticed this throughout the entirety of the game. We really rotated a lot with our players, and there's two things that I can talk about coming up from that. Number one is we're doing that because because maybe we didn't get a full evaluation of the spring game. Maybe this coaching staff didn't like what they saw during spring or didn't like what they saw during the summer, or it's a possibility that it's just not enough for this coaching staff to kind of evaluate the talent that they have here. Because for Nick Saban coaching at Alabama, I have never seen this many players rotate. And it's not like we're doing this in the second half because we're blowing them out. We did this as from the first quarter. We were doing it all throughout the game. Defensively, with our linebackers, we were rotating heavily. I mean, Justin Jefferson was coming in as that extra linebacker. He was just it was just a crazy rotation. Our defensive line, I mean, we had at least 4 or 5 dudes from first string all the way to third string, just rotate in and out. outside linebackers, defensive backs. We saw Red Morgan, Xavier Brown, and Jalen Mbakwe. I mean, we saw a lot of our freshmen. Bryson Hubbard got in the game, for God's sakes. So much of a rotation that was going on that I'm like, man, it's like, is this how it's going to look all season long, or are we doing this because we just didn't really have a full evaluation of the team, and maybe now going against real competition, instead of hitting each other all day, maybe we go against this game, and then we have the South Florida game, and then we have the Wisconsin game for week 3, where maybe we're trying to do this to gain a lot more experience. We're now running a full take of our offense and our defense in the up and coming games, which, let's be honest, these are cleanup games. The South Florida game should be another cleanup game. The Wisconsin game should be the first test because we're going to go on the road in a difficult environment. But Wisconsin barely beat Western Michigan. However, they're going to treat Wisconsin for real. Like, they're going to treat Wisconsin as a real threat. So it should be settled by then. So we'll have a good idea of whether or not this heavy rotation that you saw. I mean, we rotated 9 offensive linemen with Jalen Milroe playing. Like, is that something that we're going to do in an actual, game in a tough environment like Camp Randall in Wisconsin, or are we just going to settle down with 5 or maybe 6 guys at least, maybe bring in like a swing tackle, and we'll kind of see what happens. That's something, But again, number 2, maybe it is going to be like this. Maybe for the most part they like this roster. And they want to try to get as many people as involved as possible, because the benefit that I can see with this is they're going to get a shit ton of experience by simply just playing, by simply just getting in the game, playing, learning from your mistakes. You're on film. Like, it's not just garbage time. You are on film you are on film from the first quarter all the way to the last. And so it's going to get you a lot of valuable time, a lot of valuable experience. And that's just so much film that you can learn from it and try to grow from your mistakes and to try to get better within the defense or the offense, so that if we get deeper into our schedule, if your number is called upon because someone gets hurt, we don't skip a beat. So those are some of the 2 things that maybe I thought of. We'll see what happens, obviously, once we get deeper into the schedule. But in a way, I kind of like the fact that we were rotating and we were getting so many guys involved. And I'm talking from first string all the way to our 4th string. We're getting in the game as soon and as early as possible and taking valuable reps instead of doing it in garbage time. But no, this game was awesome. Ryan Williams was explosive. He's trending all over social media. Kendrick Law did his thing. I thought Jalen Milroe was fine. I would say Pritchard had an okay game, but then Wilkin Formby impressed me. Jaden Roberts was impressive. Tyler Booker is impressive. And then obviously Parker Brailsford. He had a couple of blunders, including that botch snap, but overall wise, I thought he had a really good game. The only other complaint that I had was tackling. Tackling was awful today, and that's something that we got to get better, because we had a lot of hats around the football. We just got to get better with tackling, especially with Justin Jefferson. Goodness gracious, Justin Jefferson was terrible at tackling today. But I think he'll get better. Again, that's a lot of things that you can practice on. You can work on that, but we got to get better at tackling, because it wasn't just him. It was pretty much everyone. Everybody, needs to get better at that area. But yeah, tackling was the biggest issue. But overall wise, I enjoyed it. 63-0, 600 yards of total offense. We had a shutout. But we gotta work on tackling, because Western Kentucky had a 9-minute drive where they kept converting fourth down after fourth down, and the biggest reason why they kept converting was simply because of tackling. So we got to get better at that area. That's the big area that we have to get in, but it is something that is fixable. We can fix that. But great game as always, 63-0. Great start for the Deboer era. We'll see what happens as we move on to South Florida.